Alright guys, good morning. Welcome to another episode here, Learning by Doing. Right now we are in Rosshaven Marina, Townsville, and today I'm hauling out. I didn't get any further south. I gave up. Too much wear and tear on the boat and on my mind, physically, mentally, too much wear and tear going south and just waiting. I could have already hauled out 2 weeks ago and be done with this. There's a boat getting put back in the water there, and then I'm next to get hauled out. So yeah, I'm doing this by myself. Marie's in France, obviously. I've got everything organised, I think. Quite a few jobs to do. I've booked 7 days out. That's probably a bit optimistic, so I might be 10. And then we'll see how we go. But yeah, I'm going to rip into it. I'm not going to film everything because I really just want to get the work done. I'll show you the basic stuff, what I'm doing, the big jobs and that, but I won't film every detail. But I'll probably do 1 or 2 videos from this haul out. Well, I better move the boat. We're drifting a bit close. I'm just bobbing around here waiting for my turn. Oh, hold on. Just give me a second. I'm going to pull out the wheel. I forgot about that. Cool. Speed wheel. Oh, shit. I forgot to pull out the speed wheel. The data log. The speed log thing. I'll make sure because the strap could pretty much damage that. Oh, there's always too much going on when you're hauling out. I always forget something. Pull out the data log and put in this blank. It's flat. Okay, that's good. Because anything that sticks down below the hull, if the strap of this thing goes on it, then the whole weight of the boat's on it, so it would just push the data log thing up through the hull. So that's not good. We're all good now. Alright, coming out of the water. It's always a bit of a scary moment, everyone says that, but these guys seem to know what they're doing, so I put my trust in them to see old Schahalian out of the water again. Alright, she's getting a nice clean down, you can see in the background. Schahalian always looks nice out of the water. I like her lines for sure. As you can see, the international anti-foul is just getting blown off. It's just dissolving with this power blaster. But the interesting thing, and what I've said to International all along, is the red paint is also International Ultra 2, as same as the blue paint. They should act the same way, I would think, but they don't. The anti-foul underneath the red is 4 years old now, 4.5 years. The blue paint, well, it's 11 months since I put it on, but it's been like this for 8 months. Yeah, I just knew it would do this. International didn't really believe me that it was soft and it never went hard. It's actually a hard anti-foul. It's not an ablative anti-foul, it's a hard anti-foul. I'm pretty much sure that this sort of proves my point that it never went hard. Okay, we are situated. The boat's sitting here on all its stands, as you can see. Hull is looking pretty good. There's a few little places here I need to sand back. It's not osmosis, it's just down to the primer coat. And yeah, this is where the slings were, so I didn't wash that, but everything else is looking pretty good. This International paint. Let me show you a good example. You obviously can see most of the blue paint came off. It was all on the ground. But here's a good example. You can see around the sail drive I put on a different sort of paint, one that doesn't have copper in it because I don't want it to react with the aluminium sail drive. And that was an ablative paint, Sherwin-Williams, something of that brand, Sherwin-Williams something. But it was for a steel boat, so it was for non-copper but ablative. And that has stayed on much better than the hard anti-foul that was here, which shouldn't happen. You know, it shouldn't happen. The hard anti-foul should stay on. So that's a pretty good example of that. This anti-foul that I put on in Indonesia has just obviously failed pretty catastrophically. I'll talk about that, you know, the international thing a bit later on when I'm putting the new stuff on. So what I'm doing here is obviously the anti-foul is the main thing. I'm taking all this off. Well, there's not much of it left, but I'm taking it all off back to red, fixing any problems on the hull, and then I'll be putting new anti-foul on. I've got some water in the oil of the sail drive, so obviously the seals of the sail drive are corrupted. I'll be putting new seals in the sail drive, checking the bearings at the same time, but I think they should be fine. If they're not, I can do that here. So that's everything under the water done. And then I plan on painting the top sides. Half of it's glossy and half of it's not anymore, and there's a few dents where the dinghy's banged on it, and mostly in Indonesia, you know, the locals coming up alongside in their hard dugout canoes and that, and just banging on the boat. So there's a bit of damage, and I want to repaint that. That's going to be the bigger mission, obviously. Sanding, it's not too much of a problem. I just have to rough it up. I don't have to do too much, and then fairing up any little dings and holes, that's not too much of a problem. Putting the new paint on, rolling and tipping, I'm not very confident of doing that, but at the same time it'll work out. I'm going to probably get someone to help me. I can't really roll and tip myself. I'll hopefully find someone around here or someone in Townsville that wants to help out. You know, it'll look much better, and it just needs it. You know, there's a few places where fiberglass is showing through and you can't have that, and I just don't want to touch it up. So I'm going to paint that up to the top, to the deck. I'm not going to do anything on the deck in the yard. I might do something when I'm back on anchor. All right, I'm going to change clothes and get some gear out and get moving. Alright, I've sanded a bit. The air gun is definitely a faster sander, and it takes way more off, which is cool. You can see here, even gone through the red in some places, which is really good. It rips through it. The air gun really rips through it. So I've done about a third. I only had about 2.5 hours this afternoon to do it, so I've done about a third of it. And yeah, I wanted to keep going now, but they knock off here at 4:30, and then they turn the compressor off, so I don't have any more air. But yeah, it's all right. You know, I'm starting to get sore shoulders. The air gun, it's fast and it's powerful, but it's quite heavy. You know, it's all steel. Here it is here. And it's quite heavy, you know, so holding it up here, and you know, I can feel it in my shoulders, probably be sore tomorrow, but another like 4 hours tomorrow, I reckon I'll be done with the sanding. I mean the sanding of the bottom part. Obviously I've got to sand the hull. I'd have to get new stickers made as well. I didn't even think about that, but I can put them on when I'm in the marina or in the water somewhere. That's not a big drama. It's only 4:30 now. I sort of feel like I should work a bit more, so I'm going to take the propeller off. The problem I have now is I checked the gearbox oil in it a month or so ago, and it's milky, so there's water getting in. Obviously it's pretty normal on a sail drive. It happens quite often. You know, you only need one fishing line or something to get in, you know, wrapped around, and it buggers the seals on the drive. So a little bit of water comes in. It's not that big a deal. You know, online people say, oh, it's going to destroy everything, but it's not really like that. If you feel the oil, there's different sorts of oil, but the good sort of oil, if you feel it, even if it's got water in it, it's still oily, it's still lubricating. It's not like it's just pure salt water in there rusting the bearings. It's just a bit of salt water mixing with the oil, and the oil's still oil, so I'm not so stressed about it. But anyway, it means I've got to take the propeller hub and this part off, and then pull the drive out, and yeah, put new seals in there. Now I've got new seals ordered here, so I think I'll get that done today. Well, I won't put the new seals in, I'll just get the old one out. And if the bearings are in need of work, they've got bearings here too, so I can get them done. This is Big Jace up here. He's a fan of the show. Came down and saw me in the marina a few days ago, and then just showed up yesterday in the yard and said, oh, I've got a couple of days free, I'll come and help. Super awesome, so stoked. big thumbs up to Jace. He's getting going with the sanding on the top sides. So I'm going to be very happy to have that help. I've been busy here with the anti-foul, you can see. Everywhere it's completely red, I've sanded. You can see the difference here, so this is what I'm up to. Good morning guys. Another day in the yard. It's a windy, shitty day and there's apparently about 1 metre of water coming down out of the heavens in the next 3 days. So I think I'm going to be standing here on the hard stand for yeah, probably a week longer than I would expect. A little bit of an update. I didn't really film that much on the first day. I showed you guys just sanding it. My friend Jace was here helping me. He unfortunately got called in to work, so he had to leave after lunch. But anyway, he was a good help in the morning. Oh, it's a bit windy. I hope you can hear me here. And yeah, so that was a couple of days ago. I didn't really film anything yesterday. I was just flat out trying to get as much done as I can, to be honest. But I'll give you a bit of a rundown of what I've done so far. Alright, so I finished all of the anti-foul sanding. I got all the blue stuff off that was I put on a Lombok and got back down to the good red. I used 40 grit sandpaper, so the air gun, so it just ripped it off pretty fast. You know, you still got to do the whole thing, but it came off pretty fast. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see here, it's really keyed it up. It's put a real rough surface on there, so the new paint will hold really good. There were some dings and some bangs, so I've used primer on those places, and then I put primer, as you can see, on the whole keel. And then yeah, just around wherever I saw the paint wasn't in quite as good a condition, I just put primer on. But I didn't put primer on the whole bottom because the paint is still really good in most places. As you can see on the rudder as well, the rudder and the keel sort of tend to wear the most, to be honest, so the paint comes off easier and faster. So anyway, the underwater is ready to go basically. Well, I have to move the stands, obviously. I haven't sanded under any of the stands, but I think I'll put on all the anti-foul and the rest of it and then move them, sand them and paint them. And then the top sides, they're all ready to go as well. Obviously here on the front, some people have a stainless steel sort of cover, because sometimes when you pull the anchor up, it bashes on there, so you often get sort of dings along the front. I've filled them up with epoxy and faired them, sanded them, and yeah, any other holes sort of filled up. I'll show you the back here. Obviously a lot of holes here, but this is all faired now. It doesn't look very good, but it's smooth relatively. But all of these holes, you can see all of them, the big one in the corner there, all of these ones, that's caused by local boats in Indonesia. They've all got very sharp pointy bows on them. That's them coming up behind to say hi or bring coconuts and just going donk onto the back of the boat. And you know, it's fiberglass, it's composite, you know, it's not the strongest part of the boat. So yeah, I knew that in Indonesia. I could just look down on certain lights and see all these dimples everywhere, but it should look better when I've painted it. I'm not putting primer on that. I'm just going to go straight over it with International Perfection. I should put 2 coats of that on and we should have a better looking boat. So that's sort of, oh, another thing I've done just now is take the shaft out of here, so it's on the table. So I basically got to take all of that part of it off and put new seals in. I also noticed that the screw here to drain the oil out, that also has got a little kink in the O-ring, so it's possible the water was coming in there, although I can't imagine all of it was. So I don't think it's a big deal to change those seals. That's another job I can do when it's, you know, it's raining and I can't be painting. Look at this bloody nightmare. I'm even sleeping with the scooter. No, because we've had these 3 days of bad weather, I've been working inside the boat, you know, trying to at least, you know, I'm paying to be here on the hide stand, trying to at least get stuff done. So I've yeah, the engine's all free. I've got stuff everywhere. Yeah, she's a bit of a bomb theater right now, but we have made some progress. I got the fridge and freezer working again. Listen. So that's good. Got some new lithium batteries and a new DC to DC charger. I'll be doing a whole episode on this, but basically SUBTECH from Perth, a family owned company over there, hooked me up with some new batteries. Pretty stoked, because I've been telling you guys for ages now that my batteries are pretty much buggered, and having to watch our power consumption all the time, things like that. So this is going to change life on the Schiehallion for sure. We're going to have a lot more batteries than we had before. They're going to charge a lot faster and they're a lot lighter. Everything is good. But we'll, as I said, we'll probably do a whole episode about that. I went and picked this baby up this morning. A little Optima Blue Top. That's going to be my new crank battery. Just then I've got a good baseline. I've got house bank, crank battery, brand new. This one I paid for this morning. It's a bit of an ouch. I spent like $1,500 this morning. Shit, oh, it's really hemorrhaging. Got this thing. This is a memory foam infused with, it's confused, I don't know. It's apparently got some copper or gels or something or other. And anyway, it's supposed to be super fantastic. And yeah, it's to go on top of the V-berth, because right now we've got 3 cushions in the V-berth because there's storage underneath. And I'm going to cut this to go over top and have a proper memory foam mattress. Maria will be pretty happy about that. So that was $520 for this thing. And the dumb thing is I'm going to cut half of it off to make the triangle fit. And I'm going to chuck them away probably. So yeah. Yeah, welcome. So here in Australia you can get everything. I've been blown away by all of these shops. You go to Bunnings or wherever and it's just a million different choices. Everything you could dream of and stuff you've never even thought of. But the thing is, it all costs a lot of money. So you can have everything, but you just walk out of there going like, ah, oh, I'm broke again. Yep, got a new wind instrument. I'm just about to, I've actually just started wiring it up. I've wired it all up actually and just tested it, and now I have to replace it with this older style one. Here you can see the difference. Both Raymarine, but that's the old ST60. And this one here is I60. So they're basically the same, but I just had to get this cable differently because they have a different C-torque system. Other than that, they're all the same and it all works. So I'm going to put that in now, and so I'll know where the wind's coming from and how strong it is, and be able to use the autopilot on the wind instrument. So sort of you have a wind vane steering. So that's good. But obviously it's Raymarine, it's $800. $800 for this little thing. Yeah, I bought some new safety equipment, a new horseshoe ring, a few other bits and pieces that I didn't have that I really needed. So yeah, today's been the buying day. But my mate Jace drove me around in his car to all these places and laughed at me spending all the money. And then he nicely took me out for lunch and paid for it, so that was a good ending. Thanks Jace, freaking radical. And gonna come and help me paint tomorrow. G'day guys, another day in the boat yard. Big difference today, look at the weather. Beautiful day, finally. I think it's been 5 days, but it's been rubbish weather now. But yeah, all ready to go. I'm gonna put on anti-foul today. Hopefully get 2 coats, like both the coats on, get it done. Jace is coming to help roll it on, so that'll speed things up. And yeah, we'll probably wait 3-4 hours in the middle of the day, then put on the second coat in the evening. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning now. Jace is coming at 9. I'm gonna run over it with acetone quickly, just clean the whole boat off, and then put the tape around the line around here, and then we'll get stuck into it. This is the lightning conductor. It's attached to a copper loop that goes up the mast and all the way through the boat. Don't want to paint over that, so I'm going to mask it off. That last bit is for around the sail drive. So the sail drive is made out of aluminium, and the paint I'm putting on the hull is copper. infused, we'll call it that. And so those two different metals would react. So you've got to put a different paint, an aluminium suitable paint, on the sail drive. So you just have to sort of mask it off around there, so there's a different, you know, there's a distance from the different paints. Alright, that's everything taped off. We'll start getting the paint on. Right, so I'm getting the rollers now ready for painting. I'm using these small furry rollers for the anti-foul, and they tend to lose a bit of their fur, so a good way to sort of stop that, or like at least mitigate it, just wrap tape around them, then just rip it off again. And the sticky side of it will pull all the loose fluff out. Alright, time to stir the paint up. I don't have a professional paint stirring machine, so I made one. This is the handle off a roller, like a paint roller. I just bent it to, you know, so it fits. Check out, this is a bit off balance. We'll give it a crack. That's the treat. Alright, so I've got two colours of anti-foul of this International Ultra 2. I've got Dover White, which is a little bit creamy, and then I've got one over here. That one's navy blue. So they're both identical paint, Ultra 2, and there's 4 litres of each, so that's more than enough for 2 coats. It'll probably be 3 on some parts on the leading edges. So what I'm going to do is instead of, I don't know, mixing them and making a really light blue, I'm going to paint the rudder and the keel and bulb with the white, and then the hull with the blue. G'day mate, how's it going? Fucking goody, don't it? Alright, I got a coat of white, although it doesn't look white, it's nearly silvery grey looking, but I didn't even finish. What am I doing? I left a big hole. I've gone and cleaned up. Oh, what an idiot. Oh well, it looks like definitely more grey or silver than white, but I guess when it dries it'll probably go more white. But anyway, this is Jace. Say g'day, Jace.
Hello.
Thanks for coming to help, mate.
I'm the hired help.
So he's getting the blue on. It's a very dark navy blue. Yeah, pretty stoked. It'll look good, and it just feels good to be, you know, getting busy, because all the stuff until now has just been sanding and prep work, and it sort of feels like you're going backwards in a way. But now, getting this on, we're getting ready to go in the water again. So yeah, I thought I'd finish the first coat on the keel and rudder, but it turns out I left a big hole. So I've cleaned my hands and, you know, put the paint lid on and got rid of the roller and all that, and now I've got to take it, do it all again for...
Hard to find good help, mate.
Oh, I'm getting old, getting a bit senile. Just take me out the paddock and shoot me soon. Make some glue out of me. Thanks, patrons. Pretty awesome. There's actually been 3 or 4 new patrons, and I've seen an increase in interest overall since being back in Australia, to be honest. It's pretty cool, I guess, especially Australian viewers. We're a bit more relevant now. For those of you who, you know, had no interest in going to Indonesia, there was probably not much interest in what we were doing the last years, whereas now we're in Australia, there's probably a little bit of interest. You know, it's been funny in the marina or sailing around. People have waved out or called up on the radio. It's pretty cool. Don't get that in Indonesia, because Indonesians don't watch YouTube sailing videos. So that's been pretty cool, and it's nice to meet all you guys. And if you do see me out and around, give us a wave, come over and say hi. Definitely don't be afraid, we're always ready for a chat, and nice to meet all of you guys. A little teaser for you, Marie's in France, and she's actually been feeling quite artistic and has come up with 2 or 3 new designs for merch. So there's some real cool ones coming actually, so keep an eye on that. We'll probably get quite a few of them printed off and she'll bring them back with her and model them, and then you get to see them how they really are. But that might be a couple months away, but just as a little teaser, some new cool stuff coming on the merch site. Anyway, thanks you guys and see you next week. Bye bye.